Hello friends, and thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about the top 4 things that NP hiring teams are looking for in potential candidates, because it always helps to know what exactly is going on in their mind, what they're looking for, so that you can develop a strategy and then deliver it to them on a silver platter in your next interview so you can land your dream job. Y'all, I have been talking, I don't know what it is at the time of this recording, it's like late April 2023, but people are feeling really beat down right now, and let me just tell you, you can absolutely land your dream job. You absolutely can. So if you're needing a little bit of pick-me-up, a little bit of inspiration, stick around to the end where I'm going to share a couple of stories of people I've met recently on my journey and helped them on their journey to find out who can land jobs against all odds, and you absolutely can too. If we haven't met yet, my name is Bree. I'm an RN NP mentor, interview strategist, content creator, educator, interview strategist. I don't know, wearing a lot of hats these days, but hopefully helpful to you on your NP journey. Welcome and thanks for joining my channel. Okay, without further ado, number one. And I don't know that these are necessarily in a particular order. It's just kind of how they came to me in my mind. How long is it going to take to get you producing for our team? Why is this so important? Well, we're used to working as RNs where jobs are a dime a dozen. It's easy to get an interview. It is easy to get a job. It is easy and quick to start. You can become an RN and work at the bedside within a couple months at the longest. That is not the case for nurse practitioner positions. I don't care who you are, where you are, what world you are in. Onboarding takes a long time. Acquisition, okay, it's not just onboarding, it is acquisition. So the interview process, finding the right fit, takes a long time. Then presenting you to the organization's medical board and getting approval for you to get credentialed is 3 months on a minimum. At a long range can be 6 to 9 months. So that piece is really, really long to actually get you in the doors of the hospital. Then we have to think, how long is it going to take to orient you? And that is highly variable. There are folks who have a ton of experience. You're going to come in and you're going to need a week, maybe 2 months to years, y'all. Okay, it can take a very long time, depending on the specialty that you're in, to get someone in that vacancy spot, working and producing for the team, potentially independently. So a lot of variables weigh into this, but overall, significantly longer than it is as an RN. So when someone if there's a vacancy, if this position is open because there's a vacancy or because they're expanding their practice and they need someone to work, it's going to take them about a year. About a year is the average that I see. So what they want to know from you is, what are the specific variables in your life, in your profession, that is going to impact how long I can take to get you producing for me? The subcategories of this point are twofold. One is going to be training. How long will it take to train you? And this is going to be based on your experience level, whether or not you did clinicals with this site. Are you a new grad? What procedures are required? How difficult is the skill set? You know, getting someone on board in a specialty is a lot quicker than any kind of broad overview type of practice, like internal medicine, whether it's outpatient, inpatient, like critical care medicine, like primary care, like urgent care. All of these cover a lot of different problems, so it's going to take you longer to learn it all. Versus if you're going into a GI specialty, you have one organ system and maybe a couple other complementary systems, but you really just need to know your one organ system, what you're doing to treat the potential problems, what procedures you do for that. It's going to be a little bit quicker in that role. The person who's been working as a GI specialist is going to take significantly less time to train than the person who is a new grad, which is also different than the person who is maybe new to that specialty but is familiar with the organization or is familiar with working as an NP, because then you just have to kind of tailor your education and your trajectory to the specifics of that role, but you already know how to write notes, and interview patients and all of these things. You know how to work as an NP already. So it's going to be highly variable based on those factors. The other piece of this is going to be, when can you start? Are you immediately available? Do you have to give notice where you're at currently? Are you completing a contract with someone else? Are you still in school, or have you not yet taken boards? Where are you at in your journey as far as starting as in this particular job? I want to talk for just a minute about the person who is in school, the student who is currently maybe doing a clinical rotation, who fits really, really well with the group, seems to be a real whippersnapper, whippersnapper? Who uses that word anymore? The person who seems to be a real go-getter, someone that you really want to bring onto your team because you know that with a little bit of training and education, they're going to be a really good fit. This is a very, very common scenario, friends. I cannot tell you how often this happens, that you will get job offers at the clinical sites where you're rotating, because this is essentially a working interview. So People ask all the time, when should I start applying for jobs? And I did a recent blog post on this, and I did some research when I did it. And here's the thing, I went to a couple of different NP forums and I searched this topic because it is a hot topic. And in general, what I see across the board is a 50-50 split on the feedback. Some people will say, do not even think about it until after you've graduated. That's what they've heard from people that they've applied with, or that's what they've heard from other students, or even like the preceptors that they were with. But I typically, here's a little tidbit, y'all. Ding, 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 where's the little alarm bell? This is typically feedback that I hear from people who are currently students. Pause for dramatic effect on that. Do you want to take your advice from somebody who is currently a student, or for someone who is working in the role, interviewing, actively involved in the hiring process, and knows kind of the general culture? And I'm telling you, leaning in close for dramatic effect as well. You need to start applying early, probably the last semester of school. And the reason is this: half of the people out there are taking this advice and already applying for jobs. So if you're in the other 50%, you are behind the 8 ball. Okay, that's one thing. The second thing is, the reason they're doing this is because they know that 6 months to 1 year time frame exists. They also know credentialing is 3 to 6 months of this time frame. They can be working on that process as you finish up school to try and expedite things to, again, get you in the door quicker, to shorten that very long time frame to get you in the door and producing for them. Anything they can do to shorten that time frame before you walk in the door is highly desirable. My advice to people is always start as early as possible. Start with your very first rotation, y'all. And I say this all the time, and I hope it doesn't sound braggy. I got 5 different verbal offers when I was a student. Most of them were from clinical sites. As you rotate with them, they see your work ethic, they see what you're like, and they want to offer you a job. And it may be hey, we know you're not going to graduate for another 9 months. Will you keep us on your radar? We'd like to hire you. This is how you hear stories of NP students all the time saying, I already have a job lined up. Because they're already marketing, y'all, already. Even if it's not a formal process of submitting a resume, have your resume ready, have your elevator speech ready, have your calling card ready. I'm gonna put a link up here to a video I made where I talk about what a calling card is, and be prepared to market yourself from the very first rotation. But as far as formally sending out resumes, the last semester. The second factor that NP hiring teams are looking for is skills/efficiency. So what they want to know is, how good are you? How good are you potentially going to be? A lot of times we are hiring new grads and we're looking at the potential of who they can be. And this is based a lot on what we know about them as an RN or as a clinical student, kind of looking at their personality traits, their ability to learn, and what they already know. Because we all have different levels and varieties of experience as nurses. Some of us were late bloomers and didn't go back to school for like 16 years. So we had a lot of time at the bedside. Some of us spent that 16 years bouncing between different specialties. So we have sort of a broader overview. Some of us really honed in and knew that we loved one particular specialty, and that makes you really desirable for this one particular specialty. So it's all really, really different based on what background you have working wise. It also depends on how much time you spent with this particular team if you were a student in clinicals. So the person who spent 2-3 semesters, 300 of their 700 whatever hours they're required to have, that they've pretty much already been getting training and orientation specific to that job. So they're going to require, again, less time, less education to get them up and running. The other piece of this is sort of the harder to illustrate, harder to give objective information about, are your personality traits. What are your skill sets? Are you the kind of person who is highly organized? This would be desirable for a team that sees a lot of different types of patients. Are you the kind of provider who's really highly adaptable and very good at multitasking? This would be the kind of person who's managing a lot of different groups, like a surgical team NP who's on the floor, whose main job is to consent people for surgery, figure out when the scheduling is happening, where the surgeons are at, when the consultations are happening. You're doing a lot of different tasks simultaneously, and you do it quickly. Or the person who is really, really good at developing rapport with patients, really good with communication and empathy. These are great traits for a palliative care or a mental health practitioner. So in your resume and in your interview, you really want to kind of highlight the personal traits that you exhibit that make you ideal for that job. So for example, throughout your resume in several bullet points, you may include words. Let's use the example of communication, relationship, empathy, rapport. Those are all great transferable skills. These are skills that you can take from one job to the next, even if it's like, say, working as an NP or say working in customer service. These are skill sets or personal traits that make you good at what you do. So this particular grouping of skill sets is highly desirable if you are applying for any of those things I just talked about, like palliative care or mental health. So if that's the position you're applying for, make sure your resume reflects that. Make sure your responses to questions when you are interviewed reflect those words and those stories that support those buzzwords. And that segues to number 3, which are the specifics that vary based on the setting, the specialty, and the team dynamics of the job that you are applying for. Now, to hone in the point that I just made, and that is that each approach to every single job, whether it's the resume that you submit or the interview that you provide to them, should be custom designed with a strategy for that particular job. You have to tweak things a little bit to give them exactly what they're looking for. And not all teams are looking for the same things, like I just illustrated. So here's what you want to do. You want to research this specialty. So again, using that GI specialty example, if you don't have any clinical experience with a GI team, you need to use every resource available to you to find out what it is that a GI team values in a provider. So ask around at work, talk to people that you may know, network, my friends, find a GI APP and find out, ask them specific questions about what it is that they do and what it is that they would be looking for in a new NP if they were hiring that. If you don't know anyone in person, go to the forums. I absolutely love this as a research, whether you are on Facebook, Instagram may have some, I'm just not as up on that. I typically default to NP forums on Facebook for this. On Facebook, you can search for Facebook groups for just about anything under the sun. Why not look for your state, your specialty, and your certification to find out what groups are available to you? For example, I'm in Georgia, I'm in the Atlanta area. We have an Atlanta NP forum. There are also national forums for my specialty, like I'm adult gero acute care NP, so AGAC NP forums. There are a million of them. Hone in on and join those groups. Once you join that group, use the search function to look for posts related to GI specialists. And then look at the comments and find out who liked it. See if you can DM these people. You would be absolutely amazed at how a simple little DM reaching out saying, hey, I noticed that you're a GI APP in Atlanta. I'm looking for this kind of a job. If you know of anything, that'd be great. But also, could I ask you a couple of questions about things that people who work in GI are looking for or something along those lines? Just ask your question. You'd be amazed. 9 times out of 10, people are more than happy to help you and more than happy to answer your questions. People like nothing more than talking about themselves and what they do. So utilize that. Leverage those resources to find out behind the scenes information about what they're looking for. And then play the system and tweak your resume and tweak your interview to deliver what they're looking for. The other piece of this is fit. So beyond just your skills, like your professional skills, they also want to know personality-wise, like what are you like and are you a good fit for our team? Which segues to number 4, and that is, you guessed it, personality, which to me is like top tier. This is the most important piece. We're all kind of neck and neck, but for me, personality matters. Why? Because in a much, much smaller, tight-knit group of providers where you could be either working independently or maybe just working with one other person all day long, you kind of want to get along with this person because there's not anybody else to buffer between you like there is in a nursing role. So you want to get along with people. So you can train people, you can educate people, you can get them up to speed eventually, but you can't really change personality. So personality and how you fit with this team, the team specifics and dynamics and who they are as a group and their mission, all of this is super, super important. There's one key factor in showing people what your personality is like, and this is what I call the knowability factor. This is the knowability piece of things. How do we know who you are? The single best way to do this is by knowing someone, knowing who they are as a person and as a professional. And you learn this by either knowing this person in real life, knowing this person in a work environment, whether you are a nurse at the bedside or you're an NP student doing clinical rotations with somebody, or you're an NP in a different specialty in the same setting. This is clutch, y'all. This is super clutch information. If you work for a specialty, let's say again, like GI, and you are known for being a just general badass at what you do, you are really, really good with strong clinical acumen and great interpersonal skills, and everybody likes you, people want to hire you, even if it's not GI, even if it's another specialty like ID or critical care. When things come up, when openings happen, 9 times out of 10, we hire from within. We hire based on someone that we already know that we're trying to recruit from another service, like that GI badass, or that is a reference from someone else, or a student that's up and coming. Again, it's that knowability thing. This is why I harp so much on your first job may not be your last job. And let's say you take a position in a job that you may not be your dream job. You still go into work every single day with your A game, because you never know when a position is going to open up. Word of mouth, knowability, hiring from within are big factors in what you will be offered in the future. And it could absolutely be your dream job next. Let's say you're in the other camp. Let's say you've been working in the hospital, you went for your primary care, you've never spent a day in clinic, and you don't know anybody in clinic, and you didn't get any job offers when you were going through school. What do? You go to the interview sites and you start submitting resumes. So this is what I call the blind date. This is where you have got to demonstrate to other people who you are as a person in a very short period of time, aka the dreaded interview, which is a huge corporate game that everybody hates and does not reflect on you as a human being or as a provider. Great providers interview like crap, and vice versa. So it's a big game. We all got to play it though. And how do you demonstrate this? By upping your interview skills. This is why interview prep is crucial, y'all. It's crucial. The biggest thing people are looking for in an interview, particularly if it's someone that we don't know, is who you are as a person. You've got to get past your own nerves to be able to show that. And what happens most of the time is that people get so nervous that they shut down. They become very wooden. They have a hard time animating themselves. They have a hard time being themselves. So the more preparation you do, the more practice you do, the easier it will be to answer those questions, the less nervous you will be, and the more you will be able to show them your personality and who you are. You may even be able to crack jokes and smile and laugh. This is what we want. This is what people are looking for. But it takes a little bit of preparation. There are very few people who are just naturally good at interviewing. This is the phase where I want to give you some inspiration. If you are in a place where you have been going out for interviews and getting rejected, or if you're in a season of job acquisition and you are feeling beat down, either by lack of options or not receiving offers. If you're going to interviews and you're not getting offers, it is more than likely your interview skills that are not getting you hired, y'all. Because, right now it's a competitive market. If there are 10 people applying for a job and we don't know any of them, apples to apples, if y'all are all similar in your experience, it's going to come down to fit. And are you demonstrating for them that you're the right fit for them? So your ability to interview is what's getting you the job. So a lot of people are in a season where they're feeling incredibly disheartened. So let me give you some inspirational stories of others who have been in this place who then landed their dream job. Okay, so I'm going to share, hopefully, I'm going to be sharing my screen here with you guys. I wanted to introduce you to some former clients to show you how you can go from a place of feeling super overwhelmed, super nervous to landing your dream job. I just love sharing other people's stories of success. So the first person, she didn't want to share her name, so we're going to call her AD. So she was super nervous to go into her interview. She knew it was going to be a very involved panel interview. I think she said there were 9 people in the interview. Yes, there were 9 interviewers. And I remember her telling me this in her mock interview of how just overwhelmed she felt, how intimidated she was feeling about having to talk to all these different people and address them individually, which I do have some tips for you on that. But very relatable problem to have. I feel that way as well. But it was for an urgent care position. Yep, it was urgent care position. And she did a mock interview. She did all the preparation that she needed to do. She was ready to go, still nervous, but ready to go. And y'all, she got a job offer within 1 hour. 1 hour of the dream job that she wanted. So it is absolutely possible, y'all. Like Harrison, who is a nurse, well, a new grad nurse who was applying for a residency. And it's been a minute since I was at the bedside, and these residencies are absolutely phenomenal programs, but they're really competitive depending on the organization where you're at. But he went in, and it was a very long day of interviews. There were four different residency programs at the same organization, and they all interviewed him at the same time. And I was like, okay, so the strategy here is you've got to give each team what they want, which is challenging because they're all in the same room, right? So he was super intimidated. He went in, y'all, he got all 4 spots. All 4 of them loved him. I think in some respects, if you're a man, you have a little better odds anyways, and he's a great candidate. He just needed a little tweaking on his approach. I also want to tell you about this anonymous PA who did not want their name shared. This person had been working as a PA for, I think, under a year in a couple different types of specialties, and wanted to go into, I'm going to just say GI, because I keep falling back on it. This was their dream. And the position that they had been in previously was not a really good work environment. It wasn't a good fit for this person or their provider. They were made to feel really badly. And this person's self-esteem was in the toilet when they came to me. And sometimes all they need is a little boost. This person is an ideal candidate for the job that they applied for. They just needed me to kind of help show them that and help them tweak their response to why they were leaving the job they were in without saying it was toxic, because that's a little tricky. They did all the right prep. They went on this very intimidating interview and got the job offer. And here's another anonymous one that was a brand new NP that really had their heart set on this one particular job. This was the job that they wanted above all other jobs. And they did so very well in their interview that administration reached out to them the same day, made an offer, and even asked them how much they were expecting in terms of salary. So they wanted this person so much that they even opened it up to how much would it take to bring you on. So all of these were people who came to me in a place from a very competitive market, with some of them having some self-esteem issues, some of them just needing tweaking, some of them just needing a little bit of practice, and ended up completely landing their dream job, even over other NPs with experience, y'all. It is absolutely possible. So please don't wallow in this place of feeling like you're not good enough or that you won't get anything, because you absolutely can. You're gonna have to put in a little bit of effort in the front end and as far as interview prep, but you absolutely can get it. And as far as interview prep goes, I think I'm rougher at standard and I've got a lot of options that I can share with you. But if you want to do it on your own, do it on your own, but do something. You need to teach yourself how to interview in order to give them what they want. It starts with crafting the perfect resume, and stay tuned for the next video, which is coming out. I cannot wait to record it for you. And that is going to be on the perfect resume. I'm going to give you an example, maybe 2 examples of de-identified actual people that have sent me resumes that I think are absolute perfection. Because I think it helps to see samples of what other people have done in order to tweak your own. This is going to come out hopefully just in time to coincide with Nurses Week. So I hope that you all have a great week, and hang in there. You can absolutely land your dream job, even in a saturated market, friends.